All right, Dave Dombrowski then picked it up with the trade deadline discussion, Renee, and this was another answer I kind of hated because, look, we all know the reality of Austin Hayes and an injury into a kidney infection. You can't foresee that stuff happening.
No, of course
right?
not.
You assume you're getting Austin Hayes, that mashed lefties. You bring him in to be a platoon player with Brandon Marsh. It failed. You know, like I can't grill Dombrowski too much for that aspect of it. The problem was Austin Hayes really the best guy for this team? You know, it was a strange deadline year in that it was the first year, I think, in like over a decade that no top 100 prospects moved. You know, they were in allegedly on Garrett Crochet and some others, but they ended up with Austin Hayes, Carlos Estevez, and Tanner Banks. And, you know, he said they liked their deadline. Estevez, they said they were really happy with. They went on to say that both Hoffman and Estevez are likely not to both be back, one or the other. Estevez was fine, I guess. I wasn't really blown away by him. He did kind of at least put people in places in the bullpen and kind of stabilize it from that regard. Tanner Banks is fine. I don't know. I didn't like the excuse making for Austin Hayes. It felt like you could have said, well, we could have done more there in left field in hindsight.
Yeah. And he mentioned with Austin Hayes, they're going to have to make a decision. He did make it a little bit clear that they have Marsh and Castellanos in the outfield, and they're going to take it from there. And then also we already had known him, as he said before, that Austin Hayes was a guy that was on his radar, and that, you know, they were looking to try to acquire in the past, and it hadn't happened. And I kind of agree with you. I thought it was a great opportunity for him to be a bit more accountable. Yeah, like it's your job to get this right.
Just say I made moves that didn't.
I don't live in the world of putting all my eggs in one basket. I like to live with this understanding that things can go wrong. What's plan B? And what was plan B if Austin Hayes came in? Like, I feel like if Austin Hayes came in and struggled, I feel like with Carlos Estevez, plan B was, oh, you've got Hoffman, Strom, you've got plenty of guys. But there was so much expectation in terms of Austin Hayes as a platoon, Austin Hayes, then an everyday outfielder versus a Tanner Banks, Carlos Estevez, that if you knew at the end of the day, if they struggled, you still had guys that could eat innings, you still had high leverage relievers. You didn't have to go to them. Austin Hayes was kind of, with this outfield's struggle to contribute offensively outside of Nick Castellanos, he was the answer for that. And to say, like, yeah, our outfield's there's more uncertainty there, you know, our infield is for sure, we know that. But that's why we expected you to do better at the trade deadline, because the outfield's been the concern. It was them and it was the bullpen were the two problems, and you didn't fix anything. So I would have actually preferred if he had said straight up, listen, and
here's some things I would have done differently.
Nobody could have planned for the kidney infection. But aside from even that, his numbers were not good prior or after that kidney infection. And I have to do better in my part. He said everybody's right now is at fault. You know, everybody had a role to play. That was your opportunity to say, I'm sorry, I messed up, and moving forward, we're going to be better.
That's my direct impact on the team.
It's not the first time that we've seen bad moves at the trade deadline.
What? Rodolfo Castro was awesome here.
But I do think part of the concern I have with the Phillies is the lack of accountability at times. And yesterday, there were a number of opportunities for Dave. And I thought Rob did a little bit better job of that. But I wanted them to, in those moments, say, I was wrong, I messed up, we will be better, I'm going to do my part.